Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we're doing a past life reading. Past life readings have always fascinated me because I personally believe that this life is a continuation of previous experiences. Whether you believe in past lives or not, well, I believe that we often carry old patterns, unresolved wounds, fears, and soul lessons into this lifetime. So today, let's explore what your energy has to reveal about a significant past life and what it may still be teaching you now. I'm going to do 3 piles. You choose which one resonates with you. Maybe more than one resonates, maybe all of them resonate with you. But either way, you find the timestamps for each one in the comment section. Okay, so let's go. Hello, pile number 1. Let's look at what your energy is showing about a significant past life. This lifetime that's coming through carries a very heavy but powerful signature. The strongest theme that comes through is oppression, loss of freedom, and the long struggle to reclaim it. It feels like you lived in a time and place where you were not free. You may have been born into bondage, forced into it through war, debt, or conquest, or simply stripped of your rights and autonomy. This was a life of survival under extreme pressure. There is a deep memory of having to endure, of holding on when everything was taken away from you. The circumstances surrounding the end of that life appear especially significant, with a possible connection to water. Seems like there was a death by drowning. There's also indicators of starvation or dehydration, the body reaching its absolute limit. This was not an easy or comfortable existence. Survival itself was uncertain. There is also strong signs of abuse and abandonment. You may have been mistreated by those who held power over you. And at some point, you were left behind by family, by community, or by people you trusted. This life carries a strong exile trauma. You were forced out of your home, your land, or your people. You became a stranger in a place that never fully felt like yours. The locations that come through are connected to colder, harsher climates and long journeys. There is an energy of Russia or Eastern Europe mixed with North America. This could point to migration, forced displacement, forced to move around, or a life that's stretched between these regions. Harsh winters, long roads, and the feeling of starting over with almost nothing. Money and material security were deeply unstable in this lifetime. There were periods of complete loss, losing everything you owned, your status, your safety, and even your voice, because I'm losing my voice as I'm reading this, as I'm doing this reading for you. And there were also moments when resources suddenly came through you, either as something you received or something you were forced to give or distribute. Your relationship with material survival was complex and often painful. One of the core lessons of this life was passive conformity. This lesson came through twice, making it one of the strongest themes of this lifetime. You learned, or you were forced, to stay quiet, to obey, to not openly rebel, to survive by blending in and accepting what was given to you. Staying small and silent was a strategy that kept you alive. But this lesson, it's still active in your energy field now. Part of your soul work in this lifetime is learning when to stop conforming and when to finally claim your voice and your freedom. When we put it all together, this past life tells the story of someone who was stripped of freedom. Someone went through abuse and abandonment, lost material security, faced the real possibility of death through hardship, and lived through exile. Yet somehow still found moments of breaking free and the strength to keep going. The soul of this life carried deep trauma around powerlessness, loss of home, and having to suppress its true self just to survive. What this means for you now in this lifetime. Many of these patterns that still be running in your energy field, you might notice a deep, almost irrational fear of poverty or sudden loss. even when everything goes right, even when there's no evidence of it in your reality, your current reality. Difficulty trusting that you will be taken care of. A tendency to stay quiet or go along even when something feels wrong. You know, the people pleasing. Old grief that doesn't seem to belong fully to this lifetime. Yeah. A strong sensitivity to feeling abandoned or left behind. Yeah. You're always afraid that people might leave you, might abandon you, might leave you behind. Or, a quiet but powerful drive to finally be free, emotionally, financially, and spiritually. But the beautiful part is that the process of reclaiming freedom has already begun. You are not stuck in that old story anymore. But there is still some residue that wants to be released, especially the old survival guilt, the fear that freedom always comes with a high price, and the habit of staying silent when your soul wants to speak. Yeah, your work now is to keep choosing yourself, keep choosing your voice, keep choosing your path, even when it feels safer to stay small. Because the more you do this, the more that old lifetime can finally rest. You are much closer to freedom than you realize. That's all that's coming through for you in this reading. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care. Bye. Hello, pile number 2. Let's look at the past life energy that is showing up for you. This lifetime carries a strong theme of intensity, contradiction, and the search for truth. It feels like a life lived on the edge, between extremes of control and freedom, devotion and rebellion, isolation and connection. One clear sign is a complicated and painful relationship with love and sexuality. There are strong indications of both deep restraint and deep periods of complete release. I see someone going through periods of complete abstinence and then periods of indulging. In some chapters of this life, you may have chosen or been forced into celibacy, abstinence, or a life where sexual energy was completely suppressed. In other chapters, the opposite happened. Intense possibly chaotic or promiscuous experiences. This theme came through twice, making it one of the strongest relationship patterns in this lifetime. These two extremes often appear when a soul is trying to understand the true nature of intimacy, power, and desire. There may have been shame, confusion, or a feeling of never quite belonging to either world. This life also carries a strong spiritual or ideological current. There is the energy of belonging to a group, a movement, or a belief system that demanded high levels of devotion, something that felt like a cult, or a very rigid faith structure. And at the same time, there is a more philosophical questioning side of you that never fully stopped searching for the truth. You were both a believer and a doubter. This tension between blind faith and critical thinking was one of the central lessons of this lifetime. There is a clear theme of loss of power and abuse. At some point, you were in a position when your autonomy was taken away from you, emotionally, physically, or both. Yet there is also this energy of someone who managed to escape or evade capture. You were not only a victim, you were also a survivor who found ways to slip through the cracks, to hide, to run, or to outsmart those who tried to control you. The locations that came through are extreme and far apart, like the Arctic or Antarctic regions, or Oceania and India. This suggests a life of movement, exploration, and displacement. You may have been an explorer, a traveler, a missionary, a refugee, or someone whose work or destiny took you across very different parts of the world. Cold, isolated landscapes mixed with tropical islands and the spiritual intensity of India. This was not a settled life, it was life of searching. There is a strong rescuer energy here. Even while you were suffering or running, part of you was still trying to save others, perhaps fellow prisoners, fellow believers, or people who were more vulnerable than you. There's, this rescuer role may have cost you dearly. The death that comes through feels intense and traumatic, connected to torture or extreme suffering. For many of you, this may indicate a literal death through torture. For others, it may point to the experience or fear of extreme physical torment that left a profound imprint on the soul. Either way, this energy carries deep wounds around powerlessness, endurance, and surviving unbearable circumstances. Interestingly, there is a young male identity running through this lifetime. Whether you were actually male or simply carried a strong masculine, youthful, exploratory energy, this soul expression was restless, questioning, and unwilling to fully submit. Material loss trauma is also present here. There were times when everything you had built or owned was taken from you. Material security was never permanent. And when we put it all together, this past life tells a story of a restless, searching soul who moved between extremes of faith and doubt, of sexual suppression and liberation, of powerlessness and daring escape. You are both the captive and the one who got away, both the believer and the questioner, both the one who needed rescuing and the one who tried to rescue others. It was a life of intensity, movement across distant lands, and deep internal conflict about power, freedom, and truth. What this means for you now. Many of these patterns can still be active in your energy in this lifetime. You might notice a complicated relationship with sexuality or intimacy, either shutting it down or swinging it to the opposite extreme. A deep distrust of authority mixed with a longing to belong to something greater. A tendency to take on the rescuer role even when you are the one who needs help. Restlessness or a feeling that you don't fully belong anywhere. old fear around losing everything or being trapped. A strong inner drive to question, to explore, and to never fully submit. The gift of this lifetime, though, is the courage to keep searching. Even when you lost power, even when you suffered, something in you refused to be completely broken. The same fire is still in you now. Your work in this life is to find a healthier middle ground between devotion and freedom, between giving and receiving, between the part of you that wants to save everyone and the part that needs to save yourself first. You are not here to repeat the extremes. You are here to integrate them. Okay? That's all that's coming through for you in this reading. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care. Bye. Hello, pile number 3. Let's look at the past life that's coming through for you. This lifetime that's coming through carries a strong atmosphere of intensity, sacrifice, and deep emotional entanglement. It feels like a life lived close to the edge of survival, love, and death. The location energy points strongly towards Central or South America. There is warmth, a richness of land, but also a sense of political or social upheaval. This may have been a time of conflict, revolution, or great social change in that region. One of the most powerful themes here is the martyr energy. This feels like one of the defining lessons of this lifetime. This was a life where you carried a heavy sense of duty or sacrifice. You may have given yourself to a cause, a family, a belief, or a relationship, even when it cost you everything. There is a feeling of someone who kept giving long after it was healthy to do so. And there are two very strong death indicators here, making the ending of this lifetime one of the strongest energies in the reading. One points towards murder or a violent ending. The other points towards dementia or a gradual fading of clarity late in life. Either way, the soul carries deep memories of vulnerability, loss of control, and an ending that felt incomplete or deeply painful. painful. You carried a strong husband identity in this life. Whether you were male or simply held a masculine protective provider role, there was a deep sense of responsibility towards a family or multiple partners. And also there is the energy of polygamous or polyamorous love, multiple partners. Love was not simple or singular. There may have been more than one significant relationship, complicated dynamics, jealousy, loyalty tests, or the challenges of dividing your heart and resources between different people. At some point, you experienced extreme material hardship. There were periods of poverty, of having to ask for help, of losing status and comfort. This may have been connected to war, political changes, or personal downfall. There is also the energy of the informer and the witness. You saw things. You knew things. At times you may have been forced to report, to betray, or simply to stand by and watch events unfold that you could not stop. This created a heavy moral weight that the soul still carries, apparently. Celestial fate is present. You had a connection to the stars. You probably still feel it. To the divine is strong in you. To something higher than the chaos of earthly life. This connection to the divine is very strong in you even now. Even in the middle of hardship, part of you looked upward for meaning. God was your strength, still is. There is also the energy of being conscripted, forced into service, whether military, political, or social. Your will was not always your own, and the presence of housework and daily labor suggests long periods of mundane, exhausting responsibilities, especially within the household or community. I see a flood. This could be a literal natural disaster or just a symbolic emotional flooding, a time when everything was overwhelmed and washed away. When we put it all together, this past life tells the story of someone who lived in a land of intensity and change, who loved in complicated ways, who carried the weight of responsibility as a partner and provider, who experienced both poverty and moral compromise, and who ultimately paid a high price, whether through violence, sacrifice, or a slow fading at the end of life. You are both the protector and the one who suffered, both the believer and the witness to things that could not be unseen. What this means for you now in this lifetime, let's see. Many of these patterns can still be active in your energy. And now you might notice a tendency to overgive or play the martyr in relationships. Complicated feelings around commitment, loyalty and sharing your heart, fear of commitment. Old fear of sudden loss, violence or instability. A deep sense of responsibility that sometimes becomes heavy. Moments of moral conflict. Knowing something and not knowing what to do with that knowledge. Or a quiet longing for a simpler, more peaceful love than what you have known. The gift of this lifetime is the depth of your heart. Even when life was brutal, you still loved. Even when you lost everything, something in you kept faith with the sky. Your work now is to learn that you no longer need to sacrifice yourself to be worthy of love. You no longer need to carry every burden. You no longer need to die for the people or the causes you care about. You are allowed to live. You are allowed to choose peace. And you are allowed to love in a way that does not destroy you. Okay? And that's what comes true for you in this reading, my friend. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care. Bye.